May is Small Business Month, and the Lee Group is going to hold its 4th annual Small Business Workshop at Detroit's TechTown on May 3rd. This year's focus is on attracting and retaining customers. The event is presented by Fifth Third Bank and features expert advice on business growth, marketing, and customer strategies. Here to tell us more is the workshop's founder, Mark Lee. He is president of the Lee Group, and Tawnya Rose, a vice president at Fifth Third Bank. Thanks both of you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
So the focus is on customers, attracting and retaining customers. Tell me about that focus and how it's different from the other workshops that you've done.
So the previous, the previous workshops we focused on the infrastructure.
Right.
You know, building your strategy, getting your business to the next level, business sustainability. But guess what? The next logical extension of business sustainability, if you open the doors,
sell products.
You got to sell product. But we're going to sell the products too.
Right.
So we made a decision this year to focus on attracting and retaining customers. Because if you have no customers, you're not going to be in business long term.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that that businesses need to do to attract and retain customers, and specifically here in Detroit, where small businesses operate in different kind of environments than they do out in the suburbs?
You know, what I've discovered in the city, a lot of us still don't understand who our customers are.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest challenge is you need to research the market and make sure you understand exactly the types of customers you want to focus and go after. And based on my experience is that we have a lot of people that are so excited about opening the doors, but they've not given thought to that. And I think that's the biggest challenge that you find in the city relative to the suburban areas.
Yeah, yeah. And Fifth Third is one of the banks that's most active, I feel, in sort of helping to rebuild this business climate and business infrastructure in the city of Detroit. Talk about your role in the workshops here.
Well, we're really honored to continue our partnership with the Lee Group. And the reason why we're excited to continue this partnership because of what it really brings to the community, the value that the workshop brings to the community. And as we see the value that it brings to the community, we also have to focus on what small business actually brings to the economy and to the community itself. And that's why at Fifth Third we find it so important to focus on our customers and keep them the center of everything that we do and inspire them to continue to look at new ways and avenues to work on their business projections and focusing on their own customers.
And customers are a big part of those projections.
Absolutely.
And I would imagine then that they're a big part of the work that you do with businesses in terms of loaning them money and getting them capital when they need it, things like that. You got to have a customer base to justify those things.
You absolutely do have to have a customer base to focus on that. And as we focus on that, we think of new ways to continue our partnership, not only with the Lee Group, but also with our customers. We've developed a relationship with Axion, and Axion is a partnership where they will be looking into ways to expand the capacity of small business owners and really what'll help them spur jobs in our own community.
Mark, you've been working with small businesses a long time in the city, and like I said, this is the 4th annual Small Business Workshop. Talk about some of the things you've learned from the first 3 that maybe shape what you're doing now.
Yeah, I think again that's a great question. What I've learned in the first 3 years is that we have a great thirst for knowledge. And I think Detroit is still hot. You know, I've had this conversation in the past, but what's interesting to me is that a lot of people are still lacking the basic knowledge. And so therefore, when we put these workshops on, it is so clear that they're excited. They want to engage with someone from a Fifth Third Bank and our other partners who are engaged because they feel there's still this bureaucracy and I don't know Tawnya specifically, for example, but they can come to the workshop and the beauty is that they're in small group environments. They can interact with the businesses from downtown Detroit and throughout their neighborhoods. And I think that's the biggest thing I've learned over the years is number 1, is certainly a thirst for it, and number 2 is a great opportunity to network.
How are we doing with lending and the lending climate in Detroit? I'm always eager to hear from banks about how that's improving. Sometimes I hear from customers, you know, businesses and individuals about things that are changing, but from the bank's perspective,
From the
moving in
bank's
right direction?
perspective, I think we're definitely moving in the right direction because not only are small business owners coming to banks and able to get funding, but they're being prepared when they come. They are getting the knowledge they need by going to workshops like this one.
Right.
So they know
you don't
how
just
to
show
come.
up and ask for
Correct.
money, right?
They know what they're talking about. They have their credit in order. They have gone through the steps in getting prepared and have their business plan. So when they come to us, we're really able to help them and get them to that next step.
What are some of the deficits that still exist in this market that banks are waiting, I guess, to see sort of fall back in line on the positive side?
So sometimes the startup companies we find still have a need or there's a gap there, and that's why we've partnered with the organization of Axion so that they can reach out to these small business owners that aren't quite to the capacity of some of the larger banks, but Axion can partner with them and give them the financing they need to get to the next level so that they are ready for traditional banks.
You know, one of the things I want to point out too, if I could, about attracting and retaining customers is this thing called customer service. And you know, I like to talk about the
super important part
absolutely.
of it. Right?
I talk about the customer journey process. And what I'm saying specifically about that is there's the before you buy something, there's something when you purchase it, that's the actual purchase, but then there's the post-purchase cycle as well. So when we talk about the post-purchase, we're talking about specifically how are businesses handling the customer service component. That's a critical part when it comes to attracting and retaining customers as well.
And even before that point, when you're thinking about starting a business, identifying what that customer base might be, sometimes is what leads you to start the business, but I would imagine sometimes it's the reason you might not want to start a business.
You know, that's exactly right. Absolutely spot on. If you don't understand you're going to go after, there's a chance that you may not be successful, number one. And number two, I like to tell businesses and business owners that 20% of your customers will generate 80% of your revenue or your profits. So therefore, you have to think about the other 80%. Is that a cash drain on your business, or is there a way they can still reach them profitably and establish a relationship with them as well?
What are some of the other things that Fifth Third is involved with here?
So some of the other things that we're involved with outside of just working with the small business owners is getting involved in the community from that level and making sure that as we keep the community the center and the focus of what we do, that we're able to offer them the things that are needed in each and every community, because communities are different.
They're different, Mark, you also teach young people about business. Talk about the things that you're hearing from people right now, especially here in Southeast Michigan, about the idea of starting businesses or the idea of entrepreneurship. We talk about it a lot in the city, and we talk about that being a key component of the city's revival. Is that filtering down to the people who are about to enter the work world?
Yes, in fact, I've been teaching young people, thank you for allowing me to say that, adjunct professor of a major local university here, Eastern Michigan University. And I would suggest that over the last 10 years, and I asked the question, what do you want to do in your career? A lot of them would say, we want to go into the corporate space. Now, when I ask that question to my students, predominantly juniors and seniors at the university, a good 30 to 40% of them want to start their own business.
Do they?
Number one. And number two, they want to start the business specifically in Detroit.
Is that right?
Absolutely. That shocked me. And I asked them, why do you want to do that? And their position is, we want to give back to the city. They want to certainly establish their own, facilitate their own business control, their personal control when it comes to financial wealth and things like that. So there's a strong desire of our young people wanting to start businesses specifically in the city of Detroit.
All right. Well, I would imagine some of those young people may come out to the workshops this year and get advice about how to start that business. Thanks very much for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thanks for having us.
And I want to thank Fifth Third Bank again for as well.
And it is absolutely our pleasure to partner with the League Group.
No, that's a very big deal.